Hello everyone. Welcome back. My name is Cassidy or Starr, and I am a Light Renegade, part of a collective of Pleiadian beings bringing you information from the galactic realms and the veil beyond. Today is the 1st of February. Hello, welcome, and happy Imbolc, everyone. In the Northern Hemisphere, we are midway between winter solstice, Yule, and the spring equinox, so the sun is shining once again, and I am very, very grateful. Today we have another message from Diana. It has taken a bit of a turn. The way that today's sort of channeling worked was that I sat down for some energy work. I very much felt like the Order of Melchizedek was here and I was giving a lot of energy support. I also lit some candles and I had incense burning. I've also done that again for tonight's I want to say tonight's reading, so that's really interesting to me, obviously already knowing what this information is. I pre-channeled this message. We've kind of switched direction in terms of the channeling. It was very much Diana by my side, sort of guiding me through what to type out, and it was almost like I was reading a story, and it very much shows that way in the channeled message. It reads like a book, it reads like a storybook, and I think that is perhaps to maybe soften the blow of what's to come. I was very taken aback by the notion of this message. I've entitled it Pills and Transformation, so I think you can know what's coming. But I felt very somber receiving this message, and I also felt just like, there was like a deep sadness sort of washing over me as I typed this, and it was almost like I could feel Diana's like emotions at that time. Because she is a Pleiadian at heart, it's like we are very much in tune with each other, and the way that she communicates sometimes like isn't with words, it's completely on a Pleiadian level, so it comes through like colors and, you know, sound rather than actual words. And that's another way that I kind of communicate at this time. It's like they've been gearing me up to be fully Pleiadian in my interactions with other beings, so it was quite different to be channeling in this way. But I hope that you will kind of see where this is going and can be open-minded. I was very, I wouldn't say I was in shock, but I was just saddened by what came through, and I think that it's only going to get deeper. I've got lots to say, but I think I'll wait until after I read this channeling to you, so bear with me a moment. There's been a lot of sort of like clunky energy tonight. I think that I was picking up on a lot of what Diana was feeling with regards to what I sort of have to share with you, so that will make sense a little bit more after I've read this. So this is called Pills and Transformation. This feels like, you know, chapter 1. The information I'm going to be sharing with you today is of a sensitive nature. Some of you will not want to believe what I'm about to tell you. However, in your hearts you will know I'm here to only disclose truth and support you, my dear souls that are seeking guidance on your journey thus far. With that in light, let me cast your minds back to 1984, just months after my son Harry's birth. I had hit a wall. The pressure of whom I was, where I was, and the mental state I was in at that time was beginning to show. I had postnatal depression, or the baby blues, as it is so often called. My husband approached me one day with a solution. He said, "My dear, we cannot go on like this. The Monica needs a champion and a face of health to carry out our legacy. You are fading from me. I feel it." Meaning I was keeping to myself and seeking refuge outside of our marriage. It was a shambles. I was ignored, denied, used, a statue, a pawn, nothing more than a chess piece to play a role in the fabric of tyranny. So, back to the story. He handed me a drink, a small brown bottle, much like the old medicine bottles you can remember. He said, "Drink one of these a day, and this will heal you and clear your mind." You will feel brand new. I asked what it was. He said some form of diuretic. Nothing to worry about. But this is something you cannot get used. This is something you cannot get outside of our own circles, darling. You know, it's special and it's just for you, so be thankful. You want to be well enough to look after our boys, do you not? I had to look up what a diuretic was, and it stops fluid, like too much fluid in the body, absorbs the sodium, so the salt and the fluid, out of the body, and it also helps clears the kidneys. So that's what a diuretic is, just for some that didn't know, because I really didn't know either. I said, will this interfere with breastfeeding? He seemed puzzled, as though it was not something he had taken into consideration. Why, yes, he will have to be moved on to formula, I suppose. I wasn't sure, but at the time my mind was so full of confusion and sadness I could see no other way out. I decided to drink this medicine later that night before bed. Something about it felt wrong, as if I knew this would end in a downfall somehow. That night I had the strangest dreams, ideas of darkness looming in, blood-soaked sheets, and a house full of gowned, cloaked people. I felt like I was in a cult. I quickly pushed all of that to the back of my mind the next day. It felt too real. I didn't like it. Every morning I would wake to one of those brown bottles by my bedside. As soon as I opened my eyes, I guzzled it down. It tasted metallic, thick like a gel substance, but I was starting to enjoy how it made me feel. I did indeed feel better. I felt alert, awake, and present. The skip in my step once lost was now a leap. But by the end of the day I would crash. I would be slumped in my chair and would be escorted immediately to bed by my staff. No one seemed to ask how I was feeling, as if they knew something I didn't, as if they were expecting me to behave that way. This was when I began to take note of my dreams. I realized the dreams were telling a story I was part of, a story of the darkness that lurked within the walls of the great Buckingham Palace. I was grateful to be out of there within my own home. Those years were the most dreadful. I soon began to realize that my days, weeks, months were rolling by without me paying much mind. My children were spending more time with the daycare than with me. I could hear them calling for me from time to time, but I paid no attention. That was when it hit me. Like a shock to my system, I heard a voice I'd heard before, those years in Buckingham Palace. It said, "They are taking your children from you slowly, but surely they will not be in your grasp much longer. Wake up." I often had a foggy head. I would have to lay down or take a nap mid-afternoon. My schedule became lighter. I thought this was to help me, but in reality, they were fading me out. I was less in the public eye. My children were with people I didn't trust. I always felt as though I had to protect the children. The children would ring loudly to me. Until that day, I was handed a folder with all the information I think I knew existed. My dreams weren't just a nightmare, but they were in fact a reality. I was being initiated into something. I felt as though my mind was beginning to melt. I knew I was feeling different, strange. I would catch glimpses of pain, sadness, people in fear, crying, running, screaming. I didn't understand it, but then it hit me again. That voice that I knew, it said, "It has begun. You must put an end to the madness. Stop drinking your medicine. It is poison. At night when you close your eyes and pray, ask to speak to me, the voice, and I shall come to you." That voice was indeed Jesus. And that's all Diana wanted to say today. I wasn't expecting such a quick turn, and sort of midway through channeling that, I was guided to lay down, and it was as though I was in that dream time, like she was experiencing. I could see like blood red walls, as if like everything I was seeing just had a filter of red over the front. There were some things I can't remember, and some things that have been brought to the forefront of my mind that I'm not sure make sense yet, so I'm not going to share them. But I think I was sharing part of her experience, and then within like the hour, 2 hours after that, I was just feeling really foggy and out of sorts. It was like I couldn't particularly focus on one thing or feel particularly grounded anywhere. It was very vacant feeling. And then I was like, oh, okay, I think this is what Diana was feeling when she started to drink that medicine, the poison. I'm not sure why more hasn't come through with regards to that message. I think because we've taken such a sharp turn, I think we're just being acclimatized to what's to come. What I find really interesting is the fact that obviously, as many of you here that are watching, there has been a lot of reptilian disclosure, but a lot of the things that I've been researching and looking at has been a lot to do with like, satanic cults and things of that nature. So I'm not sure where those two things align, if they align, or if they are just part of the one insane darkness, that we've been at the mercy to for the longest of time. So I'm really intrigued to see what comes forward from everything. But again, to come full circle, I find it really interesting that I felt called to light a candle. And when I channeled this, it was broad daylight. So I had candles on in the broad daylight with the sun shining, and I put some incense in. And this incense is particularly heavy. It reminds me of being in a Catholic church. I grew up in a Catholic school, so I went to church many times, and it's that heavy, smoky incense scent. And I just thought, okay, like this is like a ritual. This is like, the smoke laying thick in the air. It was like I could taste it was just like not a nice feeling. It just felt quite dark and treacherous, and I thought, oh wow, okay, like we are here, like the information is ready to come through. I wasn't sure if we were going to get to the belly of the beast, as it were. I thought that perhaps we would sort of skirt around it in a different way, but I think we're ready. I think everyone's acclimatized with the information that's already come through from other sources. I think we're ready to hear the full extent and the truth. And I think it's going to be quite shocking. I think the things that I've been guided to, I'm starting to understand perhaps the next steps in what is going to be coming through. And it's pretty jaw-dropping, to be honest with you. And I didn't think it was going to take quite such a nasty turn as it has. So that's all for now. That is stage 1, I think, of this deeper disclosure. And, I very much think that this is all coming out now so we can work through it together. So that we are just aware of what's been going on and exactly where we stand at this time. But don't feel disheartened, don't feel scared by anything that comes through for you. We are all protected, but it's just time for everyone to know the truth. That being said, everyone go well, sleep well, have a great day whenever you're watching this, and I will be back tomorrow with, next chapter from Diana. Take care.